Hello and welcome to Season 4, Episode 46 of Logicast, the AWS News podcast brought to you by Logicata. I'm Karl Robinson, CEO and co-founder of Logicata, and I'm joined today, as always, by my colleague, recently promoted to Principal Cloud Engineer at Logicata, Jon Goodall. How are you doing today, Jon?
I'm not so bad. I've been upgraded, as I say. I've been upgraded. Principal engineer, and I've passed a thing with karate, so I can attack children with pool noodles now. No, sorry, teach it. Attack children with pool noodles.
I wasn't sure if the upgrade was in
Both.
relation to your job title, or if it was maybe some kind of biomechanical thing that you've had to replace your injured body parts.
No, regrettably, no, I don't know, because you'd have to pay for that through the health insurance.
Yeah, but I don't get to see that due to data protection. We just pay the premium, right? I don't get to see everything that's happened to you.
But at least the caption makes sense, because I saw your caption being upgraded. I've been wondering, like, what does it? I don't know, just a catchy thing. Maybe a meme I missed. I don't know.
Kid meant so many things.
I know, right? It's healing slowly. I've been signed off for light work, so I shall be there again tonight after having had a couple of weeks off and climbing the frickin' walls. But yeah,
I thought when you've been signed off, I had a bit of a shudder go down my spine, thinking he's not coming to work tomorrow. But
well, I sit down for a living, so a dodgy foot doesn't stop me from working.
Absolutely, no, it stops you from getting up. You need to work longer hours. Stay sitting down. That's
I've got a wheelie chair. I'll just wheel away.
We're not here to talk about Jon's ailments, although they do seem to crop up on a regular basis on the podcast. It is very entertaining, yeah. It's why we do it. But you think it was scripted, wouldn't you? But it's not. These things do genuinely happen.
I don't think anybody thinks that was scripted. No.
Don't take up combat sports in your 30s.
No. And definitely not in your 50s. So I would like to introduce our very special guest today, Matheus Guimaraes, Lead Developer Advocate from AWS. And really, he needs no introduction because everybody knows who Matheus is. So we're very excited to have you with us today on the podcast. Matheus, how are you doing?
Thank you very much. I am doing very fine. All rested up after reInvent, although I didn't actually physically go this year, finally, after so many years of going every year. I did not actually go to Vegas because I was doing stuff remotely, supporting the troops. And now I'm getting ready for Christmas. So my mom arrives on Friday, I think. So it's mostly fixing bathroom stuff and all that is taking up my stressful, chaotic mind at the moment. But everything else, fine.
Well, we do often talk about plumbing and bathrooms on the podcast as well, even though that's not the main subject matter. But if you need any tips, I'm sure that Jon has some advice for you on getting your bathroom mum ready. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you lose it there.
No, I just have too many things to say about that. But all bad jokes. They probably don't.
We do need to keep this safe for YouTube. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We're not editing this, so be careful. Careful what you say next. But maybe that's a good opportunity for us to skip on to what we're actually supposed to be here to talk about, which is some of the very exciting announcements from reInvent. So we last week we interviewed Johannes Koch, AWS hero, who did actually go to reInvent. Matheus, you didn't go to reInvent, but it sounds like you were very involved in the things that did go on at reInvent. And of course, we would be here all day if we decided to go through all of the reInvent announcements and the reInvent recap deck, which is like hundreds and hundreds of slides. But we've picked out a few that we thought might be interesting for our audience.
Which is, by the way, part of what you just said that I was working on. That is one thing that I was doing. So that's the deck. The official reInvent recap deck. That goes out to the whole company so people can do reInvent recap events, but also to communities now, like the Brighton UG and all the other user groups that people, if you're listening, depending on where you are, we have them globally. And now they have access to this deck, which means that hopefully you can have access to them through the community as well or attending their events. So go and check it out. And we included me and Wojciech was the two of us that did that deck. We included both pre-invent and reInvent stuff because a lot of the stuff from pre-invent gets lost, right, in the crowd when all the attention goes to reInvent releases. But there's so much good stuff that gets released during the pre-invent period, which is an informal way of saying the weeks before reInvent, right? It's not an official thing. And every year is a little bit different when that kicks off. But usually it's that period when a lot of releases start pumping out at a faster pace than usual because things are getting ready for reInvent. So we included those as well. So there's a lot of stuff there that people may have missed. And I encourage you to try out the different events at UGs to discover them.
Well, we will be running a reInvent recap event at the Brighton user group in January, I believe. So I don't think we'll be presenting the entire deck, because I don't think our host would allow us to stay in the building that long. But we will pick some things out that we think will be interesting for our community. But I'm just curious, Matheus, you mentioned pre-invent and reInvent. How do you decide what becomes a pre-invent announcement?
Well, I did.
Is it like, do they not make the grade? Are the pre-invent announcements the announcements that didn't make the grade for reInvent because they're great but they're not quite good enough? Or is it, how does that?
Yeah, no, it's not that at all. Like, of course, that could be that kind of notion that, if you do a release during reInvent, you've been upgraded in terms of product and feature. And you are at the premium of attention. No, it literally sometimes just timelines, product timelines, things that have been promised. This is when it's going to release, because that's the window that's being set. Too many things coming out at the same time is never good for anybody, for us or for customers, right? Some of them sometimes are about a timeline of dependency. So if something is going to come out or reInvent, it's useful that the other thing comes out before, because it's built upon that, and you just want people, if you tell 10 things, people won't remember. But if you tell one thing, one at a time, then people are more likely to remember. And then there's also, some of them are more smaller features that wouldn't fit in a keynote, from the leadership, but they're still super useful. So, we want to give them that attention. But not perhaps applying to everyone. Say something that just came out now, with the RDS backup tags and Aurora as well. So this is something that just came out last week after reInvent. And it's the ability now for you to tag your automated backups for RDS and Aurora using tags, right? And that way you can also separate access by using access-based, ABAC, access to your backups, while also maybe doing the controlling the visibility of the costs for your backups, all through tags. You couldn't do that before, because the backups got tagged with whatever the primary database or whatever was tagged with, right? So stuff like this is super useful, but, it's not big enough to be on stage like Garmin say, tags for RDS and Aurora. So sometimes it is a little bit of that balance as well. But no, all the releases are important. All the product teams put a lot of care and thought into these things, especially when they come from customer feedback. Sometimes it's just a scheduling thing.
Well, this year, unless you were AI or AI adjacent, you got nothing but 10 minutes against the shot clock, which was quite surprising. Because I'm sure last year, did the keynote used to be 3 hours, or is it always, because this year it was 2 hours, 10 minutes, I think. So,
I'm not sure like the exact length, and I think it will differ every year anyway. Like even this year, we tried different things with the keynotes. Like Peter DeSantis didn't do his Monday Night Live thing, it was a Thursday thing. Werner was like a closing keynote to the whole thing, wrapping things up, where unfortunately he shared with us that was his last keynote for reInvent. So we did a few things differently this year. So I think the length was probably reduced a bit to give people more chance to go and enjoy the day as well. It's early in the morning, when you're in Vegas and you got to get to those rooms early. So I think it was just like a rebalance of content and time to make it all more enjoyable.
Yeah, I definitely did not miss getting up at 6 a.m., walking miles, and then queuing with 20,000 people to get into a room to watch that keynote at 7 o'clock in the morning. I was just able to sit here at my desk.
I got really, really lucky with it last year when we were there, because I was there not late, but late enough that all the cheap seats, as it were, for like, you're not a hero, you're not an ambassador, all the cheap seats had been filled up at the back. So I got put in one of these accessibility seats about 3 rows from the front.
Maybe they predicted your karate injury. Perhaps they thought you were injured at that point.
Yeah, they just got there 9 months early.
It was AI. AI predicted that.
Yeah, AI predictive seating analytics or something like that. Cool. Well, let's talk about some of the things that we picked out from the deck. I don't know whether this first one was a reInvent announcement or pre-invent announcement, but it's a Phoenix from the Ashes announcement. This is a AWS product that has been resurrected from the dead. CodeCommit, it was recently deprecated, I think certainly within the last 12 months. And then during the pre-invent, reinvent period, it was announced that that's gone back into GA. So I'll come to you first, Matheus, as you are our resident AWS representative. What happened here? Why?
What happened is pretty much what we always say that can happen at AWS, and it's not marketing speak. It's true, and this is proof of it. We listen to our customers like all the time. 90, it varies depending on the year, whatever, but 90 to 95% of what we release comes from customer feedback. No joke, right? And then the other 5% is what we invent on your behalf, right? Like Lambda. No one asked for Lambda. We invented serverless because it's something we engineered. But something like this, it's what comes from customers. So a lot of customers told us that they depended on CodeCommit for the integrations, or that life was harder without it than easier. And we're all about customer obsession, so we don't want to make customers' life harder, unless there's a very good reason for it, technical or business, whatever it may be, right? So CodeCommit continued to exist internally anyway, and it was just not onboarding new customers, and it was being de-emphasized. And then, there was so much overwhelming feedback that they just decided to bring it back. Yeah. And, the mechanisms to actually tell us when you want things, or when you want things resurrected, was even a bit limited before. You had to kind of talk to your DA, someone like me who talks to the product teams, or to your account team if you go on dedicated, depending on the business that you run, or your partners, whatever, right? And then find your way into AWS and product teams. But now we even got AWS Builder Center, where we got the wish list feature that you can go and create a wish. Wherever you are, just go there. It's all free. Just sign up for Builder Center and then let us know something that you want. So now there's even a way for you to get directly communicating to the product teams. So that's another thing that happened. We have more ways of the product teams taking that customer feedback directly and going, okay, we really should look into this. And they did. So they decided to resurrect it. So not only is now de-emphasized again,
it's de-emphasized. It's re-emphasized.
Yes, that's the word. But it's now back into general availability, so you can start resuming using it, or using it right now. And also, it came with a little public roadmap that we have. It doesn't display the full roadmap, but it's already gives you an idea of the things they're going to be working on. So for Q1, it's Git LFS, having like big objects stored. And then I think Q3, if I'm not mistaken, it's amplifying the regional availability for CodeCommit. So those are all things we're already committing to doing. Committing. See what I did there?
Yeah. John, I'm sure you've got some comments to make on this, because I was going to ask a question, which I forgot. It just went out of my brain. That sort of thing happens at my age occasionally. But John, I know you did want to discuss this with Matheus. So,
well, I'm all wanted to whinge about this. AWS was going to catch flack for this one way or another, right? Because kill a service, people are going to be unhappy, and the way it was killed in the first place was poor. Let's put it that way. It was poor, and then it's been brought back from the dead with, again, really limited kind of, we're thinking about this, it's just gone, it's dead. Oh, it's not dead anymore. It's full necromancer strategy.
Yeah.
But if it had been left dead, people would be unhappy. And if it had been brought back, people would be unhappy. It's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of setups. Because I'm reading podcast alums Renato Lozio's write-up on this on InfoQ. And hit the nail on the head really with sort of these comments. Is some people are really happy about this. I think lots of the workshop organizers are going to be quite happy about this, because I think CodeCommit was used primarily.
That was one of the things why it was kept alive internally. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you could still use it, right? If you was already using it, you could still use it. If your organization was using it, you could still use it. So it's still kind of like in this weird purgatory state, and now it's just working again, which is fine. But then you've got a lot of other people, and it kind of sit in this camp as well to an extent, which is, I don't trust it anymore. I've migrated everything away from it. I'm not coming back. I'm in GitHub now. That'll do.
Yeah.
Which it's annoying. It's frustrating. We don't host huge amounts of, we didn't have a lot in CodeCommit anyway. We were primarily outside of that. But the odd bits and pieces that were in there, we've just gone, nope, everything out.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to move it back just because it exists anymore. I've solved the problem that it not being there caused. So I'm just going to stay put.
Yeah, but yeah, and that's absolutely fine. And I didn't write this one because I write the launch post as well for the news blog. I don't remember who wrote this one, but or even if we did the news blog for that. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's even in the blog post that we addressed this already at launch. We knew that will be the kind of thinking that some people will have, and perhaps being disappointed that, wow, I just went through all this effort to migrate. Now you want me to migrate back? The answer is that no, we don't want you to migrate back. AWS is always about options. You have the option to come back. The option is there for those that want it, but those that don't, we absolutely validate all these platforms like, GitLab, GitHub, like they're amazing platforms as well. So much so that we integrate with them tightly these days, right? So you got Amazon Q Developer on GitHub and GitLab and all that. So, those are platforms that we are also present to help you, within the AWS ecosystem and beyond. So you don't have to. That's the thing. It's not because we're relaunching it, that we expect it to now come back to it. We are doing it because people want it. And those that want it, here's the option. You absolutely don't have to. All our products, as usual, still work with all these other platforms, whether you're on GitHub, whether you're on GitLab. You're not tied to any ecosystem. And that's very much our ethos anyway. So,
yeah, I also quite liked the, and we're bringing LFS. Great, cool. Thank you for giving me a 9-year-old feature.
but that is, that's the thing. The problem is that when we parked it, but when we parked it, we meant it. We did mean it. It wasn't like, oh, maybe we bring it back, and now it's back. Like, it wasn't chaotic like this. It was a decision well thought out and planned and done that got overridden by customer feedback and preference. If it wasn't for a lot of people telling us want it back, it would not have come back. Why would we do this, right? This only will cost us more money, more attention, more teams, more, So no, we're only doing it because people want it. So, but absolutely, like CodeCommit, one of the reasons why even it was de-emphasized was because the business stopped and looked, wow, we got all these features that we need to catch up to. Do we now put the time and money into this, or do we de-emphasize? That was part of the thinking. So now that we committed to bring it back, we are committing to let's catch up. Absolutely. That's why Git LFS is the first priority, Q1, they're on the roadmap for sure. So we acknowledge that, and we want to make it a great product for those that want to use it.
So my question that I forgot was not actually about CodeCommit at all. It was about the Builder Center wish list.
Uh-huh.
Can I ask for NAT gateways that don't cost money?
We have to go on the Builder Center wish list. But one of my questions is, do you only get 3? So have you got to be careful, choose the right 3 wishes, or can you have as many wishes as you want? No, well, that wasn't the real question. But
you can have as many wishes as you want. You go there, you put it in. And the way this works is, some people think it's, this is mysterious. How does this actually work? Well, the way it works is very simple. You put your wishes in there, and then people can upvote it. So the more upvoted it gets, the more attention he has, obviously. There's a lot of wishes that get put there. So we cannot guarantee that the product teams will look at every single thing that's put there, right? That's a whole full-time team job in itself.
Just use AI.
But there is an element of that. But then, you still need a criteria for you to know what are the things that will deserve prioritization over others, even if...
Okay, so anything that I submit gets priority.
Okay, if you want to do that rule, sure. I'll have a chat with you later. And we'll see what kind of a job we can get you into leadership. No, but so the point is that, yes, put as many as you want. Try to get people on board to upvote them, maybe even promote them. Say like, look, guys, I really have this great idea, or I really think a lot of people need this. Can people upvote this wish so it's visible? And then the product teams will keep looking at that. Every product team has a different cadence. Some will look at it monthly. Others may look at it all the time. There's no rule, right? And then hopefully it gets picked up, and next thing you know, maybe at the next event. Who knows?
Cool. Well, you actually answered the second part of the question, which was, can you upvote the wishes?
Yes, we can.
So cool. Thanks for that. Let's move on to the second this was definitely a pre-invent announcement, because it's one that we've been waiting for with bated breath
for about 4 years,
for quite some time. And this was the announcement of Billing Transfe, which was a pretty big one for people, partners such as ourselves, particularly partners dealing with distributors around AWS resale, because it takes away some of the common objections in terms of the level of access required to do that billing. So we were pretty excited about the whole billing transfer thing, and waiting for it before being able to kind of push that angle of our business. But just interested to hear from your perspective, Matheus, really, what was the big push behind billing transfer? Was it the use case I've described, or is it something else?
No, a lot of it has to do with partners and all that. And anyway, a lot of it was to do with looking at the mechanics of how this is done, and the difficulties of onboarding sometimes partners. And there are other things as well, like AWS login that we launch here, that also helps with the whole onboarding of people and partners and all that. So there were quite a few to that theme. And this doesn't have to be used by partners, of course. It could be used by anybody, but anybody who's got multiple AWS organizations. Big corporates will have multiple AWS organizations, right? So it depends on the size of your company or business, or the nature of a business, because you may have separate AWS organizations because you manage all the customers, stuff as well. So even if you're a small company, a lot of them needed this, and it's been a while that they needed it. So it was more a matter of finding the right solution, because it's quite sensitive, delegating permissions like this to cost and stuff like this. So we just wanted to make sure we got it right. It seems like we got it right. I don't know. What's your view? Have you used it? Have you explored it yet?
Explored. We are one of the small companies that really need this for both reasons, because we have we're involved with distributors, a distributor, and the whole root access, root email thing was always just a bit clumsy and a bit clunky, and that was just sort of a bit of a no. Having this in place makes the sell to certain clients that have real objections to that sort of thing. It tends to be emotional more than practical, because it's really, really easy to ring fence root users into specific accounts. Like, well, you can't get out. It's really easy to do that, but you need to know how to do it. So this solves for that objection. And then for the other one is we've got 4 or 5 of our own organizations, because we have a landing zone product, and you need whole organizations to test the damn thing in. So being able to just roll that up, it solves for both of those sorts of things. So this is something that I got really excited about. I like the inheritance model. I'd like it to go further, because it can chain, I think, 2 organizations. You can go up to one and then up to another one. I'd like that to go further. I don't know if that's on the roadmap. I assume it probably is, because you don't want to go, you don't want to go 17 levels down the tree to say, yes, inherit, because that's just stupid. But I'd like, I know, right? 2 is a good start, right? Because I can only go 1 level. Sorry, that's quite irritating. 2 is really good, because then us as a reseller can set up an organization with a distributor. So customers come to our resell, distributor goes up to the next one, bang, 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 easy, solved, done. Any more than 2, you sort of start to get into these esoteric edge cases with very large corporates around. Well, each business process organization has its own organization, and we've got 17 of them. Okay, thanks, insert oil and gas company here. Like, whatever. It's it's an edge case for a limited number of people. But I like this. I like this a lot. This is absolutely on my wish list. And when we sort of saw the slightly early notification that the community got about this one, we're like, oh, this is brilliant.
Yeah, but that, again, this is one of those that come from, that's why I say it's 90%, most of them anyway, but that came from exactly those experiences that we heard from customers. And a lot of them were partners, I think more than, of course, the big corporates, but then, the majority will be partners, because there's so many of them that needed this problem solved. So I'm really glad that it hit the nail on the head. It seems to have gone down really well. Yeah, I talked to a few people since then about this. I haven't used it myself. It's one of those that I have not experienced myself, because I don't have multiple AWS organizations to do, like, in practicality. So I know the theory, but that's why I love hearing from people like you. And you're like the third, I think, people I talk to, they go like, my God, we needed this, and this is good. So for me, that validates it. Yeah.
Cool. Let's move on to containers. And one that I missed this one. I don't know whether this was pre-invent or reinvent, but I just liked it when I scrolled through the deck, because ECS Express. It just rolls off the tongue.
Yep.
So, yeah, tell us a little bit about ECS Express.
You know what?
I'm imagining now singing this to the S Express from back in the day.
Oh God, are we going to have another
parody song
parody
idea?
Songs?
It's just popped into my head. Yeah.
So we've got Mr. Best Practice. We've got.
You know, it doesn't take much, Karl, if you challenge me.
Well, that could be another collaboration, Matheus. We'll do
I'll break into song
ECS
right now.
Express parody song. Yeah.
No, honestly, like Express mode, what I love about these things, because sometimes we're challenged in the naming of things, but I like
Don't say.
Yeah, I like when we name things the way that they actually deliver exactly that. So the explanation is actually quite simple, because it is ECS on Express mode. That's all there is to it. So it's pretty much, to begin with, because I'm a big ECS fan, being a microservices specialist, one of my jams and as microservices, and .NET. So ECS for me is big, but it really is the ability for you to just get started with ECS without having to learn everything about it, without having to stand everything up and think about the different facets, network, infrastructure, this and this and this, before you can get your containers going, which, by the way, it's already a journey for many businesses still in 2025. The whole containers is that, whoa, okay, let's sit down and figure this out. So it's removing a lot of the stuff that follows with the containers implementation, so that teams can just get started with it without losing any control. So you can just set up an ECS Express mode, which means that it will just create clusters with defaults, very good defaults based on best practices, based on a good architecture, and then you can take control later. You can customize later. You can do everything. You have access to everything. It's not a black box. It literally is just creating everything for you very easily, so you can focus on the deployment of your containers and take it from there, really. Of course, you got to configure. You got to know what you want to run, but this is the thing. Focus on the container, what you want to deploy, do your tasks, done. And then you can take it from there. Yeah.
So is it more of a kind of a sandbox thing, and you would kind of go into production with it, or would you go into production?
No, you got a problem with this. You could go a problem with this.
Yes. It's not sandbox. It's not a try it out like Bedrock playground vibes. No, it's not that. It's literally production. That's why we bake in the best practices and everything around it. IAM, network, all of that gets figured out for you with list privilege and all that kind of stuff, so that, you can take this to production for sure. So it's just a way for you to really use ECS very easily and get started. But everything is as if you had stood up yourself, and you can go and tinker and change and update, whatever.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with this as a thing. I like things that make things easier, but equally, if you're doing things in the console, me sitting here as platform person goes, no, stop it.
Yeah, but again, it's options, right? So you can have people that are clicky, whatever, and
and you should stop doing that and pay me.
Well, there you go. He already pays you. If I'm not mistaken, he's your boss.
So you should pay him, pay the company.
But
ends in my pocket anyway.
Yeah, but you can use ECS Express mode as a way for you to at least get started on good practices already. Which, especially if you got microservices and you're not containerizing in 2025, that is the main thing. Focus on that, then in the next thing. But even like infrastructure as code, you can stand up an Express mode via the SDK and CLI as well and all that. So it's not like all stuck to to the console experience. It's just that being Express mode, most likely we're talking about a crowd that is not too familiar with ECS yet. So most likely they're going to use the console. So the console experience is very rich, but nothing stops you from using programmatically at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this, for me, is going to stop the questions around, well, how long is that going to take? And can I just have something hacked together manually quickly? Suppose.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? And you may use it just for POCs. Sure, it depends. Like you are an infrastructure as code person, your stuff, great. But then you can reduce your effort by having maybe ECS Express mode, for your development environments and your testing environments maybe, and then actually, in the meantime, while that's going on, you have parallel effort in curating all the detailed configuration that you're going to have for production, and that way two things can get going in one go, So it's about freeing time as well and all that stuff. But you can definitely take it to production if you want. Yeah.
Anything that frees time. I'm not sure it free any of my time, but we love anything that can free up time. So
yeah, for sure, right? And that's, again, AWS about options. You have more and more for the past years, we've been addressing the level of abstraction, right? So we have abstraction on top of abstractions, but it doesn't mean that you cannot tap into the lower ends of it. It's another example of that. It's an abstraction level. Okay, go for it. Push the button. You got an ECS cluster that you may or may not use.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if we do get to use it, Jon, in the use case that you described, which we do here.
You should. I'm actually gonna do. This is one of those. I am definitely gonna do a video on it on Cody Matheus. I got a YouTube channel. I'm definitely gonna be doing a video on that because I think, again, especially for microservices teams, especially those doing Strangler Fig migration from big monoliths and stuff, you already got a lot to deal with. I think this can be a good enabler to get those things going if it's stuck, in ideas phase.
Cool. Sounds good. Well, let's stick with containers for the next announcement we wanted to dig into a little bit. And this was archiving in ECR.
Oh, yeah.
Again, I don't know, was it pre-invent or was it? This could be a whole quiz, couldn't
it?
He
actually says it on
we might do. You know what? We used to do quizzes for the user group, and we haven't done a quiz for a little while. Given that I think we're going to have to do this rather than wheeling Matheus out of storage, I think that might be the quiz. Is this reinvent or pre-invent?
Yeah. Except that it's on the actual slide.
Yeah, I know. So the quiz happens afterwards. You do an hour presentation, then you do the quiz, and then were you paying attention?
Because to be honest, this is something like I talked to Wojciech about when we were, planning how we're going to do the deck. Because I was like, why are we putting that? It's just more margin for error. Because if we get that wrong, it's like, is that really important? It's like, no, we must have it. It's like, fine. But yes, so I made sure that those things are correct. Yeah, this one was pre-invent. Yes.
Cool. So, Jon, you wanted to talk about this one. What's your interest here? Were you excited?
Well, let's talk about what it is for people that are listening. So this is the ability now for it's an archive tier for ECR. And the need for this, again, it is coming from customer feedback driven, because a lot of customers have compliance things that, even after they stop using the container image, they have to keep it for retention, for auditing, for whatever. But that costs money if you keep it, container images that you're not using. So this is that was the main motivation for this. So now you got the archive tier for ECR. So any container images that you're not using can go into archive. It's also smart, so it can go by pool date. So for example, you can have a policy that says if a container image has not been used in the past 6 months, then move to archive, automatically. And then if it pulls again, somebody pulls that container image again, boom, move back, so you can do that as well. It is really a cost optimization angle here. Do you have much need for that, Jon?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. It's one of those things. It strikes me as being probably backed into S3 intelligent tiering under the covers, because that's what it smells like. But yes, absolutely. It's one of those. Historically, with our clients, they haven't had the compliance needs for hanging on to the container images afterwards, but never say never. And equally, it's one of those things that, in theory, container images, you should be able to rebuild them from source if you're doing your job properly. So it's not something that we tend to come up against, but it just stops one of the compliance conversations from having to be had. Whereas we need to maintain these built artifacts after the fact for SOC 2 tends to be something like 13 months. So for, a year and a half. Cool, done. Can we save some money on that? Yeah, we can. Done. It just stops a conversation from being a big engineering challenge. It just means that, we can just tick this little box here and you can save some money.
And that's why the angle, as I said, is about the compliance and auditing, because yes, you could just hopefully,
if you've done your job right, if I've done my job right, you should be able to rebuild it from source.
Sometimes maybe not, but even those that not, that's an edge case, right? When you're not able to do that, or it should be an edge case anyway. But with the compliance and auditing, if you are building again, you are violating it. That doesn't take any auditing box because you're creating something new. You're not showing what was there at the time, right? So that's why a lot of that is that angle of compliance. But of course, like anything, it could be used for whatever is useful for people. So if you cannot build it from source every time, then maybe. And also it could be those people that find hard to let go of things. It's like when I play video games and I got like the items, and I'm getting to the end of the game and I still have never used the item because I said, no, maybe I'll need it. So just leave it.
Stick it in the archive. Bring it back later.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. I'm conscious of time. We've still got a couple of things that we wanted to talk about. So we might have to do. I haven't got a shot clock handy, but this might be a bit like the end of Matt Garman's keynote to get through these couple of items. In the time we have available. So one of them was blue-green in Aurora Global. So let's talk about that.
So Aurora Global, now you're able to have your blue-green stuff, which deployments, which is a big challenge if you think about it. We're talking Aurora Global, right? So this is a database that is global. You can have up to 10 regions where there's that replication. And, so doing blue-green on that can be quite an engineering task. And now it just does it fully managed for you. It keeps your blue-green in sync. And then once you're ready to switch, you can switch to the, if you're not familiar with blue-green, whoever's listening to it, it's just a technique for you to be able to switch your databases so that when you go to staging to production, you got minimum downtime rather than taking the database down, working on migrating things, putting on the environment, putting on every region, making sure that replication is done, all the data that was there in production up to the time when you synced is there when you go live again. So all the stuff, it literally is just you prepare your environment, your green environments that are ready to go, and then you just switch. Now this is production. Now this is your old environment, and now Aurora Global supports that all the way up to the 10 regions. If you got 10 regions of databases, it will do all that for you and set up those environments and replication as well.
John, you had something to say on this?
Yeah, I'm going to have to look at this in more detail because blue-green's been a thing for Aurora more generally for a little while. And I always thought of it as great for infrastructure changes. You change your parameter group, you're changing your size, you're doing an upgrade, whatever, which is kind of the primary use case. But the note that I'm seeing says you can also use it for schema changes. And blue-green for schema changes within the database it's the holy grail, really, because that's really, really hard. That's the holy grail of DevOps within the database. So I'm going to have to go and personally look at this in much more detail because a reasonably recent project, we've kind of had this conversation when it's going to be a complete ball ache. Let's just kind of park that and we won't blue-green we'll blue-green the rest of it, but not the database. And we'll just have to kind of block down the database for 30 seconds so that migrations can be done and then release it again. Not having to do that would be, it's not going to affect this particular project. I mean, they might want it in the future, and we can charge them more money. But it's going to be a phenomenal thing for future project work because if we can say, we can blue-green your database.
And again, it's about providing minimal downtime. I did have a lot of conversations before, although they weren't on Aurora Global, but of people that want to do more blue-green, but they don't even know how to, because it sounds simple, and then the moment you actually start implementing, you go, ooh, but what about this? Ooh, but what about this?
CMS tools and things are terrible for this because, I mean, WordPress is a great example if you're stuck with it. Things like plugin updates just muller your database for you. It's
So, suppose if you can fit into Aurora Global and you can use now the blue-green feature on it, supposedly you should be able to handle that. Now, to what level, to what complexity, to what outliers or gaps, depending on your edge case and use cases, I don't know. So it will be amazing actually that you give it a go and then give feedback, even if it's to me or to AWS or whoever, because this is something that, like you said, it could be like a holy grail to many people. And the product team will be super interested in hearing that. And it's gone straight into GA as well, the feature. So that means it's being battle tested a lot. But of course, you don't know the edge cases until you put in the hands of customers. So that project you just mentioned, hugely interesting already to see how that would have fit, if it could have fit.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be hiding from the children over the Christmas break and fiddling with the database.
Has he been yet? Go away. I'm testing blue-green on an Aurora Global database.
Is Santa here yet? Shut up.
No, Santa brought Daddy this new feature. He's playing with it right now. So let's just quickly touch on the last thing that we wanted to talk about. I think this is definitely pre-invent as well. This was accelerated recovery in Route 53 or Route 53, if you are an American listener.
No, it's Route 53. A router makes holes in wood.
Well, sometimes Route 53 makes holes in things, and that's exactly the point of this release. So it's, it's as the haiku says, it's not DNS. It can't be DNS. It couldn't possibly be DNS. It was DNS. Yeah. So in the case of the recent AWS outage, that unless you've been living under a rock, you will have heard about that because it made all of the national press in every country around the world in every possible outlet you could imagine. And
I mean,
people are coming up to me.
40% of the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I've had the conversation at Karate and various other places, wearing AWS swag, and people go, "So what is AWS?" You know that thing that killed 40% of the internet in that? Or was that you? No, that wasn't me.
But as they say, no news is bad news.
That wasn't me either,
no PR is bad PR. So I had lots of people coming up to me and asking, "Oh, AWS, I heard they had a problem." They'd never ever mentioned AWS to me before or had any idea what I did for a living. So now they know. But should that ever happen again, which of course, I doubt the very same thing will happen again, but there may be an issue in the future. There's now a workaround, Matheus, in the accelerated recovery in Route 53. Yeah. So
it is. Look, we already said before, our leadership said many times, everything fails all the time. Things fail. Like there is no my boiler is failing right now. My bathroom is failing right now, which is why
you better hurry up. Your mom's coming. You better hurry up.
Like from my mom. So everything fails. It's normal, right? We don't say, "Oh, this will never fail." North Virginia will never be down. No, instead of doing that, we acknowledge that sometimes it may fail. So we want to find the best solutions for our customers. So, and one of the things was that our customers were talking about the fact that they couldn't update DNS while North Virginia was down and all that. So this is what accelerated recovery came in to fix. So you can just go on a tab, like on the console. I think you can also do this programmatically. I'm not too sure, actually, to be honest. I don't remember now if it's on CloudFormation or whatever. But anyway, I know you can go on the console and go accelerate recovery and turn it on for that account. And that means you're going to have 60-minute SLA to continue doing your DNS updates while North Virginia is down. So it's that simple, but that powerful as well, because a lot of people said, "My God, we needed this." And, and I said, I don't know, when was it that you needed this? But, we know, like recently, jokes aside, yes, North Virginia went down. And then, this was just on the cusp of being released. It was like, but now it's there. So yeah, it's just a way for you to have a better recovery time from your DNS and all that, so that you can minimize your impact. What I will say though is that like what you mentioned, about AWS and all that goes down and the whole internet thing's down. Yes, even if there is a fault in North Virginia, much like accelerated recovery, we have many options already.
Absolutely. I had that exact conversation. It's gone down and it's rubbish. No, you're doing it wrong. One part of one region went down. There's I think it's 17 others. If you're reliant on a number of things in North Virginia are global, but not really. Because stuff's got to run somewhere. It's got to run somewhere. Fine, but if you're entirely reliant on that region and your workload isn't actually in it, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, or you're doing it right, but you should know what you're doing. It's like if I run a website on my desktop under my desk, I know that if I turn that off end of the day, the website will go down. As long as I'm happy with that, okay. So yeah, and you always got to look for the resilient options. We have the shared responsibility, principle, where we give you the tools. We take care as much as we can on our end. And sometimes, yes, things may fail our end and we take full responsibility for that. But, you also got to look for, if that's not good enough for you to depend fully on one region, because that may go down, then make sure to look into the resilience architecture options that we offer. But if you do depend, on stuff like DNS and all that, then accelerate recovery will help you with those things where we may not be able to, control the failure.
Cool. great to have the additional option. And I have to say that even though a massive proportion of the internet was affected by this outage, none of our customers were. We manage a lot of customers' AWS environments for them.
So that says a lot about you.
Apps, and exactly, yeah, we're doing it right for our customers.
There you go.
But nobody, there was zero impact on any of the environments that we manage for our clients. So perhaps not as bad as the press made it out to be. But that really is all we have time for this week's episode. And in fact, that really is all we have time for this year. I wish I was knocking off for this year already. But as far as Logicast is concerned, I am, because there will not be any more episodes in 2025. So that is the end of the episode, the end of the season, and the end of the year for our podcast. So thank you.
You don't have
very
a final
much.
Season episode releasing New Year's like Stranger Things, nothing like that.
Well, maybe we could do a secret one or something. Drop it on Christmas Day or something.
Haven't got Netflix deal yet.
No, not yet. No, but we're working on it. Now that we've had you on, Matheus, that's really going to help us.
Now it's a done deal.
So we really enjoyed chatting with you, Matheus. As always, thank you very much for giving up your time to share your insights on just a teeny weeny snippet of the pre-invent and reInvent announcements from this year's reInvent conference. Thank you, Jon, as always, for sharing your insights as well. And thank you for listening. If you have made it this far, that really is all we have time for Season 4, Episode 46 of Logicast. We will be back next year in Season 5 with some new episodes for you. So we are going to continue making content while you continue to listen to it and watch it. We are available from wherever you download your podcasts. And of course, if you'd like to see us pulling funny faces as we talk to you, we are also available to watch on the Logicata YouTube channel. And Matheus, of course, is available on his @CodingMatheus across all social media platforms. So if you haven't come across Matheus before, check him out. He's very entertaining. Thank you for entertaining.
A video about pre-invent. I'm going to go through the whole deck. I'm going to have on my YouTube. So check out later once it's done.
What is the fastest speed you can set YouTube to in terms of
that will be the experiment for you all. Yes.
Cool. Well, thank you guys, and we will be back next year with more episodes of Logicast. Until then, I don't know when you're listening to this, but if you listen to it this week, have a great Christmas, holiday season, festive break, whatever you want to call it, and we will see you again next time.